Hi everyone, welcome to Franka's Fab Family. I am Franka, and as promised on today's episode, we are going to make homemade soap. I want you to know that making your soap at home is not something that you need to shy away from or you need to worry about. It's actually really wonderful. It's wonderful and it's natural, and in 30 days you will have a wonderful bar of soap. So let's get started on the ingredients. The first thing you will need is sodium hydroxide, and that is aka lye and water. Depending again on the mold that you have, it will allow you to measure out how much lye and how much water you use. You will use this and you will combine it outside, and that will provide you with the chemical component that you need to turn the oils into soap through the process of saponification. Here I have coconut oil. I measured out all the coconut oil that I will need, and I did it in a way that I will just use the whole tub of this shea butter. So let me grab a spoon, and I want you to know that for my soap making properties, I have spoons as well as all of my utensils just for spoon making. I don't use these things with the house cooking and things like that. So we're going to cut this out. I've already measured it out because this container, the whole jar, already has a gram. I measure by grams. So I'm gonna add all of this in to the coconut oil. I'm going to put it on a double broiler. That means I have a pot of boiling water, and I am going to put it there to just let all the soap and everything, let all the oils and the butters melt together as one, right? So because this is the coconut oil, shea butter, I am going to add the castor oil. I only need 400 grams of castor oil. So as you can see, you need a scale. You really need a scale when you're going to do soap. So this is in grams. I've zeroed it back out. So basically this bowl has 0 in it. But I only need 400 grams of castor oil because I'm going to make 2 batches of soap. The one tomorrow I'm going to make aloe vera, I believe. So you see, I need 400 of castor oil. $400 grams. You can do it in grams, or ounces, or pounds. I like to do it in grams. Okay, 401, that's fine, right? And then I am going to zero it back out as I need. I'm gonna zero it back out as I need 850 grams of 100% grapeseed oil. That's the recipe I'm using this time, right? So I've zeroed it back out. So basically the bowl is at 0 and I need 850. As you can see, it's moving up there pretty quickly. This is a lot of oil. My molds are really big, so that's why, it doesn't make sense telling you all of the ingredients, because you need to be able to measure for your mold. You can start small and then you can get bigger. So we're at 750, 793, just a little bit more, just a little touch. 800. We're at, no, 850. We can go a little bit more. just a little bit more. 850 on the dot. Now we're going to take this over to the double broiler and we're going to melt all of these oils together. On top of a boiling pot of water, you're going to put, you could lower it. Remember, this is in a stainless steel pot and the oil now is in top of this boiling pot of water. So here's where you will start to melt all of the oils. Remember, coconut oil hardens depending on the temperature, and shea butter definitely hardens. So we're going to melt all of our oil together. Okay. In about 5 to 8 minutes, all of your oil will be melted. We're not totally finished yet, but I just did the temperature of the oil and we're running about 140. So that's more than enough heat to melt the rest of these cubes. So you will put the oil, you'll take it out of the double boiler, you will leave it here, and it needs to cool to the degree of your lye concentrate. My lye right now is running at 80 degrees, so I need to let this cool down to 80 degrees. So that way I will have a very liquidy consistency and we can combine them together to start making the trace and start making the soap, and I'll show you that right now. Okay, now that our oil has melted and has cooled to 80 degrees, the lye concentrate is also at 80 degrees. It's a nice temperature that you can combine both. We need gloves. You need gloves because the lye concentrate will burn you if it falls on your skin in any way, shape, or form. So I'm all covered up. Don't mind me, I'm in a tutu, but I'm all covered up, and gloves. And then I'm about to put on some goggles. So let's combine everything and let's start to make some soap. The first thing we're going to do, you're going to put the lye and the water in your bigger container, right? You're gonna pour that in, trying to make sure you get all of the solution in, right? Then we're going to pour our oil, our melted oil, in the solution. And this is where the magic happens, right? You're gonna scrape all of your oil into it. And we are going to stir. If you stir this with the hand spatula for about 20 to 30 minutes, you will get what is called tracing. We don't have any tracing yet, but we can speed it up quite a bit by using the hand mixer, right? It looks like this. It's a hand mixer. I have a can more. I'm not gonna do this too long because I need it still like pliable or liquid type. So you see the tracing start. The longer you do this, the more it will become solidified. It will become hard. So you see, this is definitely a different consistency than what we started with. I think this is good enough. I want it combined, but I still want it where I can add it to the mold. I will add just a little bit more. I will trace it just a little bit more. That means beat it just a little more. See, everything is cool. So it's combining a whole lot faster. If you had combined this while it was hot, it will be solidified like really quickly. It will be hard and you don't get enough time to work with it. So I think this is enough time. Because I am going to add some cinnamon and clove to my soap, it's going to be a cinnamon and clove soap with a little bit of lemongrass. A little bit of lemongrass oil, essential oil. I am going to separate it a little bit. Let me put a little bit more. I'm gonna put a little bit more. And then in this amount here, I am going to add maybe about a tablespoon or so, or 2 tablespoons of the lemongrass. You see it changed the color a little bit, right? Changed the color a lot. I like to have my soaps as natural as possible. And here we go with the mold, right? My mold has parchment paper, right? I am going, let me get some chopsticks. Okay, I've gotten my chopsticks and I'll show you why, because it allows you to stir it in a different manner compared to if you just had the soap. So we're going to pour the liquid soap into the mold. But because I want it to have a design in it, right? You will see. Here I have, I can put that in here. This had already started to harden up. Look at that. This has already started to harden up since I put the lemongrass in it. So you have to move really quickly, right? So I am going to pour some of this throughout the soap. This solidified much faster than I had anticipated, which is fine. That's why you don't mix these things up in your main batter. Because if it hardens up like this on you, look at that, you see? The lemongrass allowed it to really harden up really quickly. And I know for sure, because of one of the other soaps that I've made, that the clove and cinnamon really makes it harden up. So you will break up these hard chunks in it. So when you cut your soap, you will have these different, it smells so yummy. One time I made soap when I first started and people thought it was cake, right? So here's clove and cinnamon mixture. So clove and cinnamon, again, have their different healing properties. If you want, you can look it up, what it does for the skin. It's amazing, amazing. You'll scrape that off. And like I said, I like to use the soap, the stick, just to swirl it just a little bit. So when you open the soap, when you cut the soap open, it has a different texture in it. Okay. We're gonna pour more soap. And you see, that's why I say it's very important that you make the batter as it relates to the size of your mold. There is no one set batter. I actually did the calculation that the oils that I make in comparison with the lye and the ingredients will fit my mold, right? So I will put a little bit more cinnamon and cloves. It makes the bar of soap actually smell really yummy, and it's just really amazing for your skin. Put that there. You take a Q-tip, a chopstick again. This now has to stay for 24 hours. But I am gonna let it sit for a couple hours to get hard, and then I'm going to do a design at the top. And here you have it, homemade soap. After you have finished putting the design on the top of your soap to your liking, it could be anything that you like, as the soap gets harder, your designs will stick more. I like to sometimes go in an 8. It just depends on how I feel of the day. So whatever you need to do, you can even do it just plain flat on the top. That's it. When you cut it, it will have the design swirl at the top. And you go and you take this soap. You can, to make sure you have no air pockets. This will also dry out your designs. But again, you can just do this to put whatever swirls or whatever you want. And then when you're done, take the mold and put it in an area where it's cool and it won't be touched. Then you put the soap down for 24 hours and you set it and forget it. The wonderful power of TV magic. It's been 24 hours and the soap has cured. So now I am going to take it out of the mold. Make sure to take your soap out within 24 hours, because the longer you leave it in, it'll get really, the bar will get so hard in the mold that it'll be hard to cut. Trust me, a mistake I learned the hard way. So here is the whole bar of soap. You have a whole bar of fresh natural soap. And then I'm going to peel away the parchment paper. I'm going to peel it all back. Okay. I have a cutter. You can buy a soap cutter. There are many different kinds on Amazon or online that's best for you. That's the mold. That's so all of your bars will come out the same size. But this is actually the cutter. I have one in the zigzag or the jagged pattern, then I have a plain one. So what I'm going to do first is cut off the end. As you can see, it's a little rough, but I will still use it. I will use this bar for us. And as you can see, this is the pattern of the soap. It's beautiful. Again, it's a It's a soap with cinnamon and clove. After you cut off your end, I like to take a potato peeler or cheese scraper and just even off the corners so you don't end up with all these little tiny frays. I do reuse all of these extra little pieces of soap in my next batch, especially with the ones I make for us at home. Want not, waste not. That's my motto. There's no reason. This is perfectly good soap. I just like things to really look pretty all the time, right? We'll come this way. You're just rounding it off. Okay. Although this soap has now solidified into a hard bar, it's not ready yet to use on your body. It's not fully cured yet. It takes about 30 days, but you can handle it relatively, you know, somewhat, or you can use gloves still at this point. I'll put this over here. And I'm gonna show you how I cut it now. So we will go through go down. See, it's already hard. Go down. Let me show you a beautiful bar of soap. Can push it up. So you'll always, I'm gonna go ahead and finish cutting these. As you can see, we have 6 natural bars of soap so far. And I'm going to cut some with the spiral blade just so you can see the difference in the patterns. This smells so yummy. I used lemongrass, as you can see. When I'm making a batch to sell, I will use gloves. I won't put my prints and everything all over it, but this batch is for the children and I, so we're fine. Okay, here is my soap drying rack. The children and I, a couple of years ago, we actually built it. I went to Home Depot, I gave them the measurements, they cut all of the rack. I went to buy one. You know, here's a tip. I went to buy a rack and they were selling online for $400, and I was like, $400? No way, just for some lumber. So I measured it. Again, it's 1 by 2. And I measured the distance that I wanted and the length that I wanted. And this soap rack was, I think, $11. Because I only bought 3 pieces of wood. And then I had the guys cut it up and I bought some nails and the kids put it together. So here we have 32 fresh homemade bars of soap. You know, super healthy, clean for your skin. It'll clear up your marks. It will also rejuvenate the skin. It will build collagen in the skin, and it's wonderful. You know, since I started making it, it's just what we do. And I want all of you out there to be reminded that not only should you eat healthy, but you should also put healthy things on your skin. That will just promote health and youth and wonderfulness. It'll allow your skin and your body to function at its maximum capacity. I am Franka Potter. I want to thank you so much for tuning into Franka's Fab Family. Give us a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't. Share our videos with everyone, and we'll see you next time.